Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you being here. So, The Wonderful Life, It's a Wonderful Life is the best movie ever made. Full stop. So, I know that sounds a bit like clickbaity or whatever, but I'm serious. Especially amongst like modern day cinema. Just comparing It's a Wonderful Life against most things I've seen in the past probably 5 to 10 years. It's not even close. So, for example, recently there's a new series that came out on Netflix. It's the Witcher Blood Moon, I think, or Blood Origins or something like that. Anyway, within the first 5 minutes of the show, they went on a monologue explaining exactly what was going to happen and then did it. And that's, I feel like, a common symptom amongst most modern day cinema or just shows in general is they don't show you, they tell you. So they always tell you how amazing something is or how powerful something is instead of just showing you. Or a plot line will play out and then you'll have someone sitting there explaining to you what's happening. And it really holds you by the hand, just treats you like an idiot. And It's a Wonderful Life, it doesn't do that at all. And I think it's a time back when movie makers would expect the audience to have at least somewhat of a brain and at least kind of pay attention to what's going on. So we'll go ahead and show the trailer, and I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive on it. Here we go.
Look, who are you? I told you, George, I'm your guardian angel.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
So the premise of the movie is it's a story about this guy that ended up not being able to do any of the things that he wanted to do, but instead he gave up everything of himself and gave to others instead.
Welcome home, Mr.
By the way, this kid, where is that? Yeah, this kid right here plays younger George, and after watching, more recent stuff and seeing this kid act, it's like night and day. Like, this kid did such a good job in the movie. Like, you would never understand that he was acting, and now going back and seeing like child actors today, it's painful to watch in most cases. There are a few exceptions, but this kid was like, it surprised me I haven't seen him in more stuff. Granted, this came out in like 1947 or something like that, so I wasn't all that old to have seen other stuff that he might have been in, but the case stands. So let's go.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Sentimental hogwash. I wish I had $1 million.
So the whole thing is George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart. He's always this wildly ambitious individual, and he's stuck in this small town, USA, Bedford Falls. It's a fictional town. But he's stuck in this Bedford Falls, and he can't wait to get out, explore the world, and do all these crazy, amazing things. And it's something I can kind of personally relate to a little bit. But anyway.
Mr. and Mrs.
Calling it a timeless masterpiece, I would wholeheartedly agree.
Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
Merry Christmas!
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Easily the most iconic scene in the entire movie. It's like, even if you don't know what this movie is, at some point in your life, you've probably heard that line.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so anyway, let's close it out. And then, stop it. What'd I do? Oh my gosh, stop it. Stop it. Oh my goodness, does technology hate me? Just stop. Okay. Man, I tell you what, like, today in itself was just a wild ride. I was supposed to show like the movie and talk about like different scenes, and everything decided to stop working all at once 4 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So anyway. So as far as the movie is concerned, I'm going to get into some light spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, like I said, it came out in 1947, so it's not like you haven't had enough time. But if you haven't seen it yet, which I know a few people who have not, yeah, so light spoilers. I'm not going to go in like super deep dive, but there are a couple things that are worth digging into a little bit. So anyway, the story is about, I want to say Jimmy Stewart, George Bailey. The movie is about George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart. And like I said before, he's this hugely ambitious guy that all he wants to do is get out there and see the world, build skyscrapers, build bridges, and do all these crazy exciting things. And he felt like life just flew past him, and it's because he was always helping other people. So somebody needed something from him, and he was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do this because you need that. And he was always putting everyone else around him first and himself last, and he was constantly living the life he never wanted for himself. So it all culminated at the end of the movie when everything just kind of went south. He was going to basically lose everything, like what little he had. And it was just a really depressing situation. And that's when a bunch of people in his life and his family just started praying and prayed that he would receive some kind of help, that God would help him. And then that's where an angel came down, Clarence, if you saw that one clip. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. And then Jimmy Stewart was like, attaboy, Clarence. That's literally the last line of the entire movie. That was the final part of the movie, was that bit. But anyway, so an angel shows up, and Jimmy Stewart, or George Bailey, is like, I wish I was never born. And then this angel showed him what life would have been like if he were never born. And he got to see firsthand what the world around him was like. And it was such a bleak place. Everything around him had completely turned to rot. People whom he loved and cared about and helped were either dead or in complete and utter despair. People's personalities were completely different. They were mean and cruel to each other. And he finally got to see the impact that he had on other people's lives. And it never at any point in the entire movie does it ever tell you, like, yeah, George is a really selfless guy, or George did these things. It just showed you. It didn't tell you, it showed you. And that was something that's kind of a lost art today. So it really reminded me of that. But also, because it never tells you anything and expects you to observe and notice, every time I watch it for Christmas, I always catch a little something else, a little something different, a little something special. And one of the most memorable parts was the significance of him running down the street. So probably the second most famous scene in the movie was where George Bailey is running down the street of Bedford Falls screaming Merry Christmas to everybody. One of the things that he shouts Merry Christmas to is You Old Bailey Building and Loan, which is the institution that he basically gave up the life that he wanted to go work at. It was his dad's basically loan office. So it allowed other people in this city or in this little town to get the kind of homes that they wanted. And they had no other alternative except for Potter. And Potter is basically the antagonist of the movie. But anyway, so had the old building and loan, had that not existed, then all these people in this town would have been stuck going to this monopoly miser guy, basically living in these slums. So anyway, so when he's shouting Merry Christmas, you old building and loan, it's the only person it's the only human, the only person he always shouted Merry Christmas to people and humans. It's the only non-person that he shouted Merry Christmas to. And that's because even though he basically gave up his life to this institution, it was hugely helpful, and he came to terms with that. Also, the whole pickle that he was in that basically destroyed what last bit of his life that he had, that was directly responsible. But when he came back from seeing what his life would have been like if he had never existed, he came to terms with the fact that that is a great institution that he's poured a lot into, and it's absolutely worth it, and I wish you a Merry Christmas. So anyway, so I caught that this year, so that was kind of resounding to me. And in my mind, is probably the most important line in the whole movie. But anyway, the other main thing is, like, most movies that are really good, really cleverly written, it's got great drama, good romance, it's funny. A lot of that type of stuff is like, yeah, that was entertaining. Or maybe there's a little takeaway like, oh, that was cool. But It's a Wonderful Life is literally the only movie that I'll watch every year, enjoy it thoroughly, catch new stuff out of it, and then think back on my own personal life. And every year when I watch It's a Wonderful Life, I try to look back at that year and it's like, how was I a George Bailey? Was I serving myself? Was I a Potter that was all about trying to amass my own personal wealth and take advantage of everybody around him? Or was I a George Bailey that sacrificed myself and my life and my needs and my wants for everybody around me? So it's a great eye-opener and really, really special movie, and I cannot recommend it enough. It's a Christmas movie because the last like 10 minutes of it has Christmas stuff, but the other like 80-90% has basically nothing to do with Christmas. It's all about this guy's life. But anyway, so the only reason for saying that is you don't have to watch it at Christmas time, but to have a tradition like that, it's really good. It's a good gut check, good reality check, and I appreciate it. I appreciate watching it, and I cannot recommend enough that I think everybody, at least in America, everybody should watch this movie and just try to take away something out of it and try to see the George Bailey in themselves instead of just looking at it or trying to find it. Hopefully, it can bring it out. So anyway, that's all I've got. If you like the video, please leave a like. Also, if you like to see more stuff like this, or just my take on stuff, please subscribe to the channel. It'd be great to have you. And leave a comment. Let me know if you've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life and what your thoughts are if you have another Christmas classic you like to watch. So, but anyway, that's all I've got for now. So really appreciate you being here. And as always, stay classy.